New York has the #2 pick in the draft, and Darnold's name has been dropped in trade talks. A report says the trade market for Darnold is not very high, with 2 general managers saying they would trade a 3rd-round pick, while one said, quote, a late third is a little rich. Bucky Brooks, Matt Leinart, they're back with me. But, fellas, it might be time for the Jets to go ahead and bust a move. Now, I'm going to start a little relationally, because what life has taught me is even though you're not at fault from the wrong, even though you're not at fault of the damage, you might still be damaged. Say you're in a relationship, Bucky Brooks, say you're in a relationship, Matt Leinart, and somebody does you wrong. You might not have committed the wrongdoing, but it doesn't necessarily mean you are immune from the damage of being done wrong. See, you're still going to be damaged goods, if you will, emotionally maybe, until you resolve those issues. That's how I feel about Sam Darnold and the Jets. I don't think Sam Darnold contributed to the wrong that has occurred as far as the Jets' record. His first year in New York, he has an offensive coordinator with 1 year of offensive coordinating experience, and it was 8 years prior in Jeremy Bates. His last 2 years with the Jets, a head coach in Adam Gase who just can't get right. And so when I look at Sam Darnold, I don't think that he contributed to the damage. However, I do believe that in New York with the Jets, Sam Darnold is still damaged. Matt Leinart. Now, you and Sam Darnold, y'all got that whole USC connection. So tell me, why should the Jets move on from Sam Darnold?
Well, first of all, I don't think they should move on. That's my opinion. I think they will move on, but my opinion thinks that he should get another shot for the reasons you said, Ach. And look, I know firsthand. You know, when you're one of the top picks in the draft, you go to a place, you need to have a supporting cast. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since B. Marshall in 2015 and Eric Decker. They haven't had a Pro Bowl player from a skill position in the last 5 years. He's been sacked 30 or more times each of the last 3 seasons. Now, I don't want to make up every excuse and justify why Sam Darnold should be the guy and is the best quarterback, because he obviously has his issues and he has to play better football as well. But you just mentioned the coaching and Adam Gase, and you look at what Gase did with Tannehill in Miami, and Tannehill has always been a pretty good player, but no playoffs. He goes to Tennessee for 2 years with great coaching in that system, 2 playoff appearances, and playing at a Pro Bowl level. So coaching matters. And this is the biggest reason why. I know Robert Saleh from my days in Houston. Love this dude. I love this energy and passion. What you see is advertised. That's what it's going to be, the culture there. But also bringing over LaFleur as the offensive coordinator, who is a Shanahan disciple. I played in Shanahan's system under Gary Kubiak in Houston. We all know that it's a very quarterback-friendly system. Sam Darnold with the bootlegs and with that system and some of these pieces that they've already, they've picked up some guys in free agency. With that #2 pick, you can go a variety of ways. You can trade back, you can get Kyle Pitts, you can go Jamar Chase, you can get Penei Sewell. You can do all of these things to help build around your young quarterback, who I personally still believe in. So, look, that's my opinion. I do, with all that being said, sometimes change is the best thing. And it appears that's what's going to happen, because we know the New York Jets are going to take a quarterback at #2. I think we know that. But Sam Darnold is a good football player. Sam Darnold, to me, can be a starter in this league. Sometimes a fresh start is what everybody needs.
So, Bucky, we know that Sam Darnold is talented. Nobody's denying that. I'm not denying that. I agree with Matt. Great football player, can make great throws. We saw what he did, even games against the Niners, rolling one way, throwing across his body. We know all that. But, Bucky, we also know you love Justin Fields, rightfully so. Zach Wilson, incredibly talented young quarterback. So what should the Jets do with Sam Darnold?
They have to pull the plug on the Sam Darnold era. Through no fault of his own, we can say that the Jets need to reset. Sam Darnold was put in a bad situation, tough situation, lack of support around him, didn't necessarily have the pieces. We could question the coaching and all of that. But at the end of the day, when you look at the tape and you look at Sam Darnold, it is hard to make a case to continue to go forward with him, because he hasn't really shown much. When you look at the numbers from 2020, he is down at the bottom of the league in every category that you can think of when it comes to being a quarterback. Passer rating, completion percentage, yards per attempt, yards per game, touchdowns. He's 32nd or lower. Like, it's hard to justify continuing on. And then when you think about the clock and the decision that has to be made in May, where they have to make a decision whether to pick up the fifth-year option, which is over $20 million per. How can you, in good faith, sit in this locker room and say, hey, Sam Darnold is a $20 million player when you haven't seen that on the field? We have seen the teams that are going to the Super Bowl are going primarily with a quarterback that is playing on the original terms of their rookie deal. It enables you to build out the rest of the team. And so if you're Joe Douglas, the New York Jets, even though you might love Sam Darnold based on how you saw him at USC, you have to keep this strictly business. You got to move on and find a new quarterback.
All right, Bucky, I hear you. But I got to get something off my chest because these conversations start to frustrate me, and I will tell you why. Rookie quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, look at him at BYU, 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, the only quarterback in college to throw for 40 or more touchdown passes, 5 or less interceptions. Oh my gosh, Justin Fields, everything he did at Ohio State. Last year, 40 touchdowns and only 1 interception, not last year, the year before last. Oh my gosh, remember when Jameis Winston was coming out? Never seen anything like him. Marcus Mariota. But I start to kick back and say, rookie quarterbacks are overhyped. Like, let's be real. When I think about, yes, maybe you should move on from Sam Darnold. Y'all heard me. I said that I think that he is damaged in New York. That is my reasoning for moving on from Sam Darnold. But then I look at all the rookie quarterbacks and how so many of them fizzle out. Are rookie quarterbacks overhyped in the NFL?
I mean, they're a little overhyped just because this is what we do. We're getting ready for the draft. We got to create excitement. We're excited to see the new class, the new crop. You know, it's like being that upperclassman on campus and the new freshmen come through. And we check it out and just seeing who's on campus. Like, that's somebody new I haven't seen before. Maybe not need to go over there and introduce myself. And so that's what these teams are beginning to do. They're introducing themselves to these young quarterbacks, and the game has changed. Even during Sam Darnold's time, the game has changed where we're seeing these rookie quarterbacks have success. Look at what Justin Herbert was able to do. It is just a different time. If you have an opportunity to take a talented quarterback and reset the clock, you have to do it for your organization.
Matt Leinart, you are one of the best college football analysts in the game. You watch these college quarterbacks on a week-in, week-out basis. You study them intricately. You know all the details. But at the same time, you know the reality of the situation. Are some of these rookie quarterbacks overhyped?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, we go back to what we just talked about as far as just obviously the talent and then going to some of these organizations where they fizzle out because of a variety of reasons. But to Bucky's point, you know, quarterbacks are at a premium, and you're seeing a lot of rookie quarterbacks have success. And Justin Herbert's a great example. And you've seen a lot of these young guys go into places and be like, wow. And the game has changed so much with really the way Patrick Mahomes has changed the game, the way he throws the football and the excitement that brings. And you look at these quarterbacks in this draft, and I'll tell you what, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to be great, who's not. You know, Kellen Mond is a guy who I have as sleeper who might be extremely good at the next level. We don't know. But you look at Lawrence and you look at Wilson and Fields and Mac Jones, who's kind of just thrust on the radar, kind of a la Joe Burrow of a couple of years ago, or last year, excuse me. It's exciting. And look, these organizations, you want to hit on one of these guys because that changes the face of your franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. And that's the hope. So like Bucky said, I think, you know, I'm not an NFL evaluator, but like Bucky said, you know, this is what we do. We analyze these young guys, and sometimes it's not fair, but that's our job. But I will tell you what, I'm more excited about this quarterback draft class than I've ever been, just because you have so much talent and different players, right? I mean, Zach Wilson has got that swag, and pro days are, you know, you don't want to get too in love with pro days, but just the way he could throw the football, he's a really talented player. Justin Fields, who I covered for a couple of years, him being in the Big Ten, is a really special player. Mac Jones, to me, has a talent to play in the NFL. He's getting a lot of criticism right now. He's a special player. Trey Lance is a project, but wow. I mean, the skill set jumps off the tape. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to the draft, and I'm looking forward to see where these kids go.
Leinart, do this for me, because I have you on this show. You are a much better quarterback mind than I am, probably a much better overall mind than I am, but that's another conversation for another show. Bucky Brooks has already told me that he has Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. We kind of rated the quarterbacks yesterday. We can assume Trevor Lawrence is at number 1. There's still Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. One of these 4 quarterbacks will be a game changer and will likely change your franchise, fan that's currently watching this show. Matt Leinart, rank those quarterbacks in order for me. Trevor Lawrence is 1, but give me 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, two for me is Justin Fields. I have him ahead of Zach Wilson. I even personally think the gap between Lawrence and Fields isn't that significant. You know, a little bit of different players, but Justin Fields is a really special talent. And again, I say that because I was really up close and personal with him the last couple of years with us covering Ohio State in the Big Ten. And then 3, I'd have Zach Wilson. I'd had Mac Jones at 4, and I'd had Trey Lance at 5. And just briefly on each one of them, Trey Lance, to me, just a lot more unknowns, obviously, with where he played, only having the one game last year, only completing 50% of his throws. Again, I'm not the guy that's going to say, well, his stats are this, his stats are that, because you look at Josh Allen a couple of years ago from Wyoming, had the low completion percentage, and now he's an MVP-type player. But Mac Jones, to me, is a really good football player. You know, obviously, he's becoming a victim of the talent around him for what people are saying. I don't necessarily buy that as well. Zach Wilson is a